All order the planning commission regular meeting for September 18th, 2025. Ask the clerk to do roll call.
Paul.
Here.
Patrick.
Here.
Clark.
Here.
Todd. Here. Lachey. Mariner.
Here.
And Mance.
Here. Yeah, it's not. Yeah, back. Next item is the approval of the agenda. Everyone had their packets received. Is there any change or updates to the agenda?
Yeah.
If not,
Chair, just the headers. It looked like it got copied and
That's the-
pasted. The only,
the agenda.
what was that? The minutes.
No,
The minutes.
agenda.
We're doing the approval.
Oh, the agenda, I'm sorry.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
I.
Now we'll move on to the approval of minutes. As soon as getting ready to say, now I already have Eric inform us that heavy on the minutes was from the previous special meeting we had, one meeting. And that's need to be updated for the, like I said, August 21st, 2025, and the start time was 6:30, not 6 p.m.
And I was
Is
there.
there anything?
And I was there.
Oh,
I didn't miss it.
Yes.
Yeah, the attendance. Yeah.
So you hear this? Anything else to the minutes?
We just need a motion to amend.
So a motion to amend.
Make a motion to amend the minutes from the previous meeting to reflect the proper header and attendees and start time. Okay.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, none passes, now the approval of. The main first of the minutes and comments on those. Was that?
Sorry.
Sorry. Which then moves us on to public comments. So in this public comment, you can comment on any of the items of tonight's agenda. If you would like to speak, you would come up to the microphone, give us your name and address, tell us what agenda item you're speaking to. And if you're online, just raise your hand and we'll recognize you. If there's anyone in the room that would like to speak. Anyone online? Seeing none, we will close out the public comments. All right, moving us on to new business. First item of new business is 142 Butler Street, the site plan review. It begins on page 8 in our kits that we've seen. And what I'll do is pass. Or I guess for everyone as you came in, or I should have kicked off and welcome our new director of planning and zoning, Grayson. And so now we'll give Grayson this opportunity to do his first little site plan update for all of us and kind of tell us about the applicant and walk us through your findings assessment.
Yeah, so the applicant is proposing revisions to the east storefront elevation, demolition and reconstruction of the first and second floor rear portions of the building, and the addition of a second floor bedroom and roof deck. At the most recent Historic District Commission meeting, the projecting storefront window was revised and approved to be flush with the front of the building, and the window was approved as was seen in the 2024 approval. One item of interest for the Planning Commission tonight would be to discuss the non-conforming south side setback, which currently encroaches onto the neighboring lot. As the applicant is voluntarily removing a portion of the non-conforming structure and proposing to reconstruct the existing first floor with the second floor addition, the zoning ordinance will not permit the structural change, as it affirms that when non-conforming elements are voluntarily eliminated or reduced, they can't be re-established later on. Some ways to abide by the ordinance, the applicant could amend their plan or potentially seek a lot line adjustment. And if the applicant is willing to do so, approval by the commission would need to be conditioned on receiving exterior lighting details, information regarding current and proposed methods for storing their trash bins, fire department approval, and approval from engineering.
Thanks, Grayson. I believe we had the applicant here, and then they have some information that should not included in the.
Hi, I'm Charles Carlson. I'm the architect that did the drawings that you're looking at. You got a little bit of history on the project. My client bought it purchased it and with a retail downstairs, and it was called a dwelling unit upstairs. So we kind of refinished the downstairs so they could be open this summer. So they are, so this next winter, we would like to redo the storefront and build out structurally the upstairs. Not really finish out the dwelling unit upstairs right now, but just do the upstairs to a certain point behind, from the front of the building to the back, there's a certain point where nothing is structurally sound. It was like built a really simple roof out of 2x4s, and then they built on top of that, and now it's the living space upstairs. I think there's a photograph in your packet of how horrible it is. I mean, we want to rip out the whole thing because there's nothing structurally sound about it. And the reason why we want to do that and then rebuild is so that my client can expand her store, because we had to stop at some point in her store. She's got more retail space behind it at a certain point, but we had to stop because we have to rebuild the whole back half of the building. So the reason why we're here, I think is for the storefront. We got approval from the historic district. The upstairs right now is a dwelling unit. It's a 1-bedroom dwelling unit that was probably built in the 1927s or 20s, like the 1920s or whatever. It's a kind of an odd plan because in the front there's a living room, and then behind that is a bedroom, and then behind that is a kitchen and a bathroom. And everybody today is living, new living standards. Everybody wants living room, dining room, kitchen, laundry room. So all the parts and pieces are there. It's a small unit, but the problem is the bedroom has windows that face onto the neighbor's roof. So it doesn't meet code because there's no egress. Egress, it can only go out onto a alley or a public right of way or a yard. So we can't refinish upstairs because we can't build a bedroom that meets code. So the only way we can do that is to build a little bedroom addition off the back of the building, so that we can have egress windows go out the back onto the roof and then into the alley in the back of the building. So, and we're kind of forced to do that because we could just renovate the second level as is, but to do that, we have to put a sprinkler system in, because if you have a bedroom with no egress window, you have to put a fire suppression system in. So we looked into that. There is no record of a water facility coming into the building. When we talked to the city engineer, we talked to the water. Yeah. And there's no documentation. The water line apparently stops at a certain point on Butler and a certain point on Mason Street. And we had Netterveld out there to see if they could figure out where our water comes in. All we know is that there's a 1-inch pipe that comes into the basement of the building. And once it goes out the wall, we don't know where it goes. So we don't have any real way to get a fire suppression built into the building. So that's when we said, okay, well, we have to do this little addition off the back so that we can build a bedroom with an egress. So that's why we're here. I think, I don't know, I think that's the story behind the project. So yeah, that's where we're at. That's why we're here.
So I guess, just to get into some of the questions going forward here. As you heard from Grayson, the potential part of the issue is, the entire building, the south side of it is 6 inches
Right.
over the property line,
Right.
which is not, as you were aware, It's not uncommon downtown because your neighbor to the north of you is 8 inches, you'll probably.
But yeah, yeah.
Trying this one that's a neighbor, but. The. I think one of the things that was in our report is that we were gonna take down the old section of the building, which you basically were then removing so many feet, like 8 feet of non-conforming.
Right,
But then once you remove it, you can't flow it back.
right.
But then you were just telling me that you're actually not removing the south.
Well, the whole section that we're removing is not a structurally sound building. I mean, it's a shack. It's really a shack.
Can you put up page 21, so? It's there on page 2 on the main level.
Right.
Where you've got the red area, the area to be demolished. Is that section, is the south wall in that section to be demolished, or is that gonna remain?
Right here, actually,
No, the main level.
oh, the main
On
level,
the second level, main level.
nothing is gonna be demolished on the main level. This
So
is,
where,
this
so
is,
like where you've got the red, see like right now, I think let's, in
right,
the area of red, it says on the report, which you go going by. It says area of demolition and new addition.
right,
So it makes it look like that south side wall is to
Right.
be demolished and rebuilt.
okay. Right here, that's correct, but I have no problem on the, because this is just a one-story structure at this point. We can follow the lot line right here. I mean, we can push it back, this, in this little area right here,
Right.
we'd be happy to push it back. This is all brick all the way here,
Right.
and it's a two-story brick structure to about here. And then it's a one-story brick structure all the way through, all the way around. And actually, this thing kind of moves back, and it was a block that accidentally got moved, but it goes back to this line right.
So. In that red area. Here. Would be what's gonna be called being demolished and then rebuilt. Either the wall would remain. Or you'd be willing to move it in 6 inches so that you're not
Yeah,
increasing the non-conformity of the addition.
right, yeah, here, happy to take that little strip out and build it right on the lot line. Yeah, not a problem.
Was that where, because that changes our ability to be able to approve this.
All right,
Now, it would have to be approved, subject to you delivering new plans to two
Yeah.
prices, that we would, it could be potentially done if everyone agrees.
right,
With administrative approval without having to come back.
And that would also apply to the second floor. You couldn't go over the lot line. You'd
yeah,
have to follow that lot line.
here, that would be an issue because this, like I said, it's a two-story brick structure about to here. This portion, which actually gets pushed up to this line right there, would be second story.
But you're not making it any worse. You're not increasing the nonconformance, you're making it any worse. If the first story is already there
We're actually, yeah, the first story is already there.
and staying,
They're actually reducing by.
Yeah, because-
It's not being, you're not building back as much as what you're taking back.
Yeah, we're decreasing the non-conforming aspect with a new structurally sound structure.
Yeah, the way that look, we thought it was going to be all the way back to the original property.
No, yeah.
That helps.
Field trip down the road.
So Grace. If it. Either the wall doesn't come down or it's removed, so it's on inside of the property. Then that would remove. The next form issue, right?
Yeah.
Other questions from any of the members?
No, that was the only issue I had. Otherwise,
Too.
otherwise I supported.
Same here.
We're good.
Oh, wow.
Your work's not done, so that. But at least that was a big concern for you on that. So. Given, and one of the things that we're very simple. Those are other things that we have to be subject to, because initially. Based upon that, if we're going across the wall. Then we probably really have to delay it for the other suggestions.
Yep.
So for the recommendation, if we're making a motion to approve the contingent upon. Then deliver that to you, is there anything else that's contingent upon?
Yes, we'll need to receive exterior lighting details. Yes, which isn't actually like a full photometric plan. It'll just be demonstrating that they're facing downward. But not directing light towards neighboring structures. And then, yep, treasure
And then to fire department approval, right?
and engineering, yep.
Any other issues you would see with the approval? And we entertain a motion.
I don't think I tracked everything that's contingent on, so,
I'll make a motion.
all right, thank you.
I'll make a motion to recommend this project based upon the non-conformance not being any further and with deconstructed being brought back to the lot line, not having a non-conformance. As one of the contingencies, two, that they provide their lighting specifications, that they provide their trash bin storage information, and they get fire department approval and engineering approval for these modifications. All delivered administratively.
I'll second that.
This would actually be a roll
Patrick,
Yes.
Baldwin.
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Goffin. Yes. Marino,
Yes.
and Vance.
Yes. And you guys can show them out. Yeah, just bring those items there when you have the raise, very soon.
Well, we get now, for minutes for the meeting, so we can have a checklist of what shows them approved on.
Absolutely. Yeah, it would just be probably something, it's like, does it need to be a new drawing that would show?
Yeah,
It would be, it really would be beneficial if you could actually have that.
Oh, no, yeah,
Charts updated, shows it moved in, or we can put that in as backup for.
Because there was some contingency back then, like.
And then I do lighting and the trash, whatever.
Engineering and fire department.
So happen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's easier.
Look at that.
Oh, this is.
Six, yeah.
Well, yeah, we want something.
Right. Right.
Very good. That moves us on to the next item of new business. Which is 195 Dewgrass, also a site plan review. I believe that starts. On page 30. In our case. Obviously, this here is a lot of pages, within our kit, because it's not on a site plan review, but it also has to follow. What the PUD is following, so we're putting that in the 2013 to 2015 regarding the Dewgrass things. And so all, if you didn't get the updated, we have printed off some of the new language that was on the desk today, which is now incorporated from our original kits. Some additional background, which basically we walk you through. As well as a few changes to some of the recommendations. It's good for us to consider. But at this time, I will ask if Grace will just kind of walk us through this application and then really kind of still on from there. Please give you along with the attorney and consultant.
Yeah, absolutely. And I also just want to note that Mr. Midler had presented some comments for the meeting as well. But for the 195 Dewgrass, the applicant is proposing the construction of a single family residence within an approved PUD area, as you mentioned, which was formerly Presbyterian Camp property. The dwelling is proposed to be 2 stories with a front pool and attached garage. The compliance review provided, which is updated, considers all the applicable zoning standards and requirements in accordance with all applicable resolutions and the overall PUD plan, which is shown on sheet C 102A. The proposed area of disturbance appears to limit the overall impact of site work. The vegetation assurance plan states that 41 trees greater than 3 inches DBH will be removed, and that revegetation efforts will involve planting 82 trees on the east side of the lot with the restoration of native vegetation along the driveway and surrounding the dwelling. For the additional requirements for this location, the planning commission must approve the vegetative removal and vegetation assurance plans. Amendments or additional concerns may be imposed on that. Staff recommends conditional approval of the site plan, vegetation removal plan, and vegetative assurance plan with the following conditions to ensure compliance with the remaining standards. And that would be to reduce the front yard trash bin screening fence to 3 feet in height, confirm compliance of the pool location requirements, satisfy all engineering review comments, secure public water service approval, and to provide compliant residential exterior light fixtures.
Thanks, Grayson. Has everyone had a chance to kind of review what we originally received with law and additions of one today?
Yeah, I did.
Jason, was the vegetation removal and the assurance plan, was that actually submitted originally?
Yes,
Okay, so you just didn't have it for which. It was all in the kit.
it should have already been in there.
I was trying to figure out like some of the, all the additional pages was all the stuff they get back to the PUD.
Yes. I think so.
Yeah, the new documents that you should have received today were the 2013 special land use, the 2015 PUD requirements, and then the comments from Mr. Mendler in the consultation approval.
Well,
Or-
well,
These were just added digital.
Yes, the 3 were added digitally due to their size, and they've been following the same requirements for all of the previous dune grass. Thanks.
so one question that you have, this is minor, but why is the trash bin hot 3 feet? I couldn't find any place.
That is.
Why does it have to be limited to that? I think because it's in the front yard, it's a fence in a front yard. Within a certain setback from the front lot line, maybe.
Yeah.
I try to read all the times, trash cans are hard, so it's a situation where there's a truthful from a visual thing, whether see probably without traffic. So it's a little offense or is it just something? But again, I could probably work around that, I didn't understand.
We have, isn't
They can
there,
make it for the trash,
isn't there stipulation though that the trash cans can't be visible?
so trying to work with your mind, stick up above.
Yeah.
Because many people just have a barrier, how's the trash cans? I mean, I didn't view it as a complete fence, where I was. Maybe I was,
So why is the pool issue still open? Like, isn't it a knowable fact if it's within a certain distance from the street or not? Or do you just need to make a determination as to how to measure it? You haven't done that yet, or?
Yeah, on the site plan that we received, which we only got it in the PDF form, there's not a measurement already directly on the plan, so we just need them to delineate that, but we don't foresee it being an issue.
lots of familiar with the development of her. So there's some of the things that you can question that comes down to that we build, we would respond with some of these dues and everything. But I rely on that to build a little part of that. Sort of, yeah, for us. Yeah, the main thing for me was like the trying to figure out, I'm still trying to find where the trash bin is before. Are you familiar with where it is, Grayson? Did David do this? Is David online?
Yeah, David is
that's fine.
Yep, is there anything I can address?
Hey, Dave, I'm just curious, where, when it came to the fencing for the trash bins, which is the first.
Yeah, it's a 3-foot requirement in a front yard of any residential district. And also city code also requires trash bins to be out of sight, either indoors or completely screened one way or the other. So that's a requirement in city code anyway. But it's when you have a fence and screen of trash cans, it is still subject to the fence height limitation requirement. So it's kind of conflicting in a way. We don't want them to be seen, but yet we don't want the fences to be too high.
But where I see the trash cans is at the very back end of the garage on the side of the house. They're not in the front yard, they're at the front of the house. If I'm looking at the document that's on page. This is, it's the one page one, but I'm trying to figure out.
Yeah, sheet A0.
47. So on page 47, A001, I see those two places where it says trash bins on the side of the house along the side of the garage. And I can tell you there's many places throughout the residential areas where they've got 4 or 5 foot screenings around their trash bins.
I think I see it by the driveway though, isn't it that blue box?
Yes.
It's not the one next to the garage.
Yeah. And interestingly enough, if you put a roof on it, it would be an accessory building and not be subject to that height requirement.
Do you see it, Steve?
Okay, I was looking at these 2 boxes that are back here in the back.
Yeah, those are condensers and elevators.
Oh, because I saw the little property one, to go over that box, I'm mistaken. So where are the trash? Oh, it's.
Almost to the end of the driveway.
No, that. So right now, if this was to be approved, we've got it subject to, if they keep them where they are, a 3 foot. But they would have the ability. Buy it. Place of something else, let's take that part out, and that's still not to be approved.
Right.
Because now that I see what they are talking about. I'm sure the rest of the team, but says. Other questions or issues with?
Yeah, my only question is, because there was a good chunk of documents sent this morning and I was reading other legal docs all day. I did not get a chance to see it, so I don't know if we have any formal opinion from our attorneys on related to Mr. Medler's letter.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, Mr. Medler's letter basically just addressed that this development would be subject to that 2015 or I guess to the 2023 special land use resolution, the 2015 PUD approval and those other documents, which is the large amount of documents you received today. Most of the provisions in those documents, and I know some of you have been through this process before with other developments, but for those of you who maybe haven't, most of the provisions in those documents apply to the whole Dunegrass development, generally speaking. There's very few that apply to the specific parcels, and then out of those ones that apply to the specific parcels, most of them apply to the original 8 that were in the 2013 special land use resolution. It contemplated 8 residential properties being built. later then in 2015, when the PUD was approved, they approved more residential dwellings in what was previously labeled as the undeveloped property. And that's what this development would fall into. So going through what we did as legal counsel along with staff and working with Dave is go through and kind of identify which provisions there would apply to the undeveloped portions of the property from that original 2013 special land use resolution. And we kind of picked those out and Grayson explained them in the memo. And that would be your vegetation plan. Is really the big one is the vegetation plan. I know when we went through one of these previously, and Chairman Mans may remember, there was approval of a vegetation plan in a very similar fashion to this. And so that's kind of the main gist of it as far as the legal requirements there. If you have any other like specific questions, I can try and get into those now, but it's mostly like I would say the vast majority of the provisions relate to the entire development, and we picked out the ones that relate to the specific dwelling.
Yeah, great. The second reason the report was Grayson, as far as the building structure that meets all the specification requirements and limits that have been imposed. And I think the part obviously that was missing was the vegetation.
I don't have any changes to make to that, to what's presented. I know that's one of the things we have to do.
I just, the pool situation is, I think it's hard to tell from the PDF as well, but I don't, as Grayson said, I don't know that it's an issue. Yeah, good point.
But that's all I've been personally. We will see what they decide to do. Anything about
I don't think so. Any questions I
I mean,
have, haven't used it, so
yeah, but you can't feel like there's so much that you kind of read through.
we had an hour to do it all. Right. It was, I mean, it was interesting, but it was a lot.
When I first went through, I remember all stuff on the grass and I said, I need to missed it, but part of the thing, but you know, I felt like they had fully vetted out and we certainly didn't meet the requirements that were put in place with the PUD and was approved. At the same time, it was good to have double check, so we find some things here.
My only question actually has to do with the recommendation language. And based on compliance with the majority of zoning requirements, we think we would want compliance with all of the zoning requirements.
Yeah, I think it's written in that sense as that it complies with the majority of them now, but yeah, you would want it with all. Because at this point, we couldn't confirm the pool. But
The recommendation to go to the motion to take so I'm going to follow the close majority.
We just say with the compliance with the zoning requirements. And the satisfaction of the site plan review standards rather than no stuff. I don't mean to be picky, but
I don't think that was a motion.
Yeah, in the recommended language is not in a recommended motion format. So it would just be a motion to approve the site plan, vegetative removal plan, and vegetative assurance plan with the following 5 conditions.
right. But I do think, I don't mean to dwell on this, but I do think language in these kinds of documents is important.
Yes, and that's specifically why we said that it meets most of the plans, most of the requirements and standards. And as Grayson said, it doesn't meet all of them, so I can't say that they met all of them until those conditions are met.
Again, basically the recommendation, not a suggested motion. Is there a comfort level with moving forward?
With what we talked about,
Yeah.
yes, I'm comfortable.
We have. Motion.
Um, we recommend conditional approval of the site plan, the vegetative removal plan, and the vegetation insurance. With the following conditions. Right? Reduce the front yard trash bin screening fence to 3 feet in height. Confirm compliance with pool location requirements. And parens, no front yard placement. Satisfy all engineering review comments. Secure public water service approval. Provide compliant residential exterior light fixture specifications.
I'll second it.
Then it's been seconded, and for a roll call.
Patrick?
Yes.
Baldwin?
Yes.
Clark? Yes.
Yes.
Mariner?
Yes.
Yes. Great, that concludes new business for this evening. This now moves us on to our topic of old business, which is a continued discussion on our master plan, the upcoming community meeting scheduled for September 30th, and suggested boards that were included in our packet, they're prepared by David and his team. At this time, I'm going to ask you to turn over to David. That's fine with you.
Yeah.
David is going to walk us through and going to lead this part of the discussion.
Okay.
Thank you, Grayson. Thanks for your attendance and for the memos today.
Okay, yes, Mr. Chairman, we are 2 weeks away from our public event. And sorry, there's a little bit of an echo going on. But I'll just work through it. So we are about 2 weeks away from our open house. There has been the survey, great survey responses so far. Also, there's been a couple newspaper articles as well as postcard notifications that have been sent to all landowners in the city. The survey itself, we have 209 responses, so that's positive, and I certainly expect a lot more over the next 2 or 3 weeks as we continue to get the word out. So the objective for tonight is just to walk through the stations that we discussed at our last meeting, and just to seek your final input on those stations, see if we can make any final revisions or tweaks before we get these printed and ready for our open house. So is it something that you want to put up on the screen, or can you share that part of the packet?
182. Dave, while she's bringing that up, I'll say that for a rough draft, I thought a lot of them really looked good, so I look forward to kind of going through them here. Each other has done something like this before.
Yeah.
Okay, it's up on the screen now, I hope you can see it. Did I share it? There. Sorry.
Okay, there we are. Okay, so as you know, we have about, I believe, 8 or so stations. This first one is our general welcome station. And so I could see this being managed by Grayson or myself. Maybe one of us manages this while the other's a floater. But the point of this introduction is just to greet folks, make sure they sign in, explain why we're here, why are we doing this, give them information on the survey. If they haven't taken it, we'll direct them to the QR code. And then we might also here have signups for. I can talk to Grayson about this as well, but we may want to see if we think about roundtable discussions or smaller focus group meetings. And we could include a sign-in sheet just so if you're interested in a one-on-one interview with the consulting team or interested in participating in a small group discussion on a special topic, we could take names and email addresses there as well. So I would always recommend kind of getting that out there and getting contacts of folks who might want to be further involved in the process. So that'll give us an opportunity to meet people, see who is interested, and see who may want to participate in a smaller group discussion, if that's something that we decide to do in the scope of services. So
Yeah, they can actually go back at the end of the evening and still sign up for something like that if they found information that they liked, right?
sure, absolutely. Yeah, as they circle around the stations, certainly circle back to the welcome, and then we can maybe do a sign-in sheet and address several areas. We could say downtown environment, roads and mobility. So we can develop certain topic groups, and then if folks are interested, they can sign up for those stations or those topic group discussions. Okay.
Yeah, I think it's a good first forward.
Okay. Then on to station 2 is the quick feedback board. And so this is, we'll have Post-it notes available for this board, and they'll have to complete the statement with their first quick intuitive answer. And so it'll be in Saugatuck, I love, I want more of, I want less of. So it's just kind of I think this is a good icebreaker type station to get people thinking and just to say, hey, my first reaction is, I love the waterfront. I love downtown. I love historic preservation. And then we're going to hear some really good comments and get gut reactions from folks at this quick feedback station. Any comments on that?
I think it's good.
No, I like that because we had great success with the short-term rental, those Post-it notes and the number of comments that we got, and we're able to bring them back and summarize. So I think that's a nice way to kind of let them start off after they get past the registration.
Okay, good. And then number 3, this was an addition from a council member recommendation. This would be kind of a carryover of quick feedback. And this would be similar. How should Saugatuck look in 25 years? And it's 2 options, same. And then if they say same, what in particular? What everything, or the downtown area or the waterfront or whatever it might be, or different. If so, how? And so this is something that they can jot down those notes on Post-its. The station manager can have those conversations and also take down notes as well. But this is kind of a continuation of the quick feedback from the last station, and they can add those on Post-its in those 2 columns.
I like the idea of asking what people would see it in 25 years. You maybe said 10 or 25 years, because 25 years is a long time for people to kind of project out, because you're talking about 2051, kind of thing. And probably many of our residents that might be in my age bracket may not even be able to think about 25 years, because we probably will be lucky for still. But anyhow, that's what I thought, 10 or 25, something like that would be beneficial. But when I first saw this, and I was gonna run it by a couple of people, they were like, okay, how do you answer that? And especially when it's so open, so it's, if they come in with specific ideas and they were like, well, can you give us suggestions? And I said, well, if you give me suggestions, they can be viewed as leading. But I didn't know what other people thought on that. Is it easy for somebody to kind of say what their thoughts are, or do you want to kind of throw out? Because that's what we had later with it. Plus, I was also trying to limit some place where we might be able to eliminate at least one board, because we wanted to have a planning person at each location. We have 7 of us, and we've got 1 director. We got 9 boards, so it's kind of like, okay,
So I answered it myself is why I looked at it. So how would I answer that? I said, this is, and what would I want different? I said, well, maybe we want to bury the power lines or something over that period of time frame. And that'd be something that would be different that I just, as I went through it. So I don't mind it, but it is sort of open-ended and it could end up.
Driverless cars and take care of our parking issues.
That's right.
So, it'd be like, well, have driverless cars and when the guy, our streets are open, we can have outdoor dining everywhere. So,
Right.
it's kind of Jetsons type of thing.
That's a 10 or 25. You go 25, you can get pretty out.
Cars will be hovering and we'll come.
Right, the Jetsons mobile.
It's what Jetson. Look at this. Years old. So,
Yeah, and I think
we
this,
like that and keep it in there. I mean, it was suggested, I think it's, when we're talking about master plan, you are talking about the next 10, 15, 20 years, kind of looking out. A master plan is supposed to be updated every 5 and 10 years. So that's the reason why I was thinking more towards a 10-year view versus a 25-year view, because in 10 years, you should be redoing the master plan anyway.
And you think about the average, I don't know what the average age is of the population here, but I think it's older rather than younger. So I would think less than 25 years. We keep it.
I think,
And I think you, Dave, you kind of took it because that was one of the comments that came from, I think from council, but they really had as a thought in my mind. I really do think that if you're supposed to review it and update it every 5 or 10 years, then our job is really to think about what's best over the next
10 years.
10 years. So my suggestion would be a 10-year. How should shops look at 10?
I guess the counterpoint to that though is especially for an open-ended question like this, you might get a lot more big picture ideas, like burying power lines, that's gonna be a big effort. So those are things that maybe people will be more comfortable saying with a 25-year scope that could inform us in these 5 to 10 year periods to work towards potentially, but
Or you have it in your, let's say it was something that buried power lines came up.
yeah.
Just like at the end, when you got your master plans completed, you kind of put your goals in there. One of the goals would be to continue to have a discussion, when we do 2036 plan. You would kind of look back and say, what did we accomplish, what didn't we accomplish? I'm fine either way, I just think that. My thought is knowing the average
Yeah,
age of town, we say 25 years or whatever, I have an idea, but it's not like that.
Sand Riverside, yeah.
yeah, I think if it said, how should it look in 10 to 25 years or 10 plus years or 10 to 20, I think you could give a range too.
Hey, good, exactly. I mean, people get the gist, it's just trying to get it, start with a number that's like 10 years, where some people might think that their input could actually come to life.
I like the question, and I think you could even put this and the previous one together at one station. They're both quick feedback boards, so.
I kind of felt the same thing when I was looking at one too, because it almost could be. I think it's pretty cool that it's just, you have someone that you can get on a board.
What do I love is gonna fall under the same, and what those things and different are things I hate and gonna go into there. So there's gonna be some carryover or crossover between those two boards.
Yeah, I had the same thought. I think we can just have the quick feedback station be number 2, and then there's just 2 boards at it. So there could be one planning commission member just with a board on each side, or just, near those 2 boards. We can set it up so that they're kind of in the same location.
Hey, Danny, what about a quick feedback? If you had things that they love, and then it's in the next 10 to 20 years, things I want more of, things I want less of. Then it's just one board.
Yeah, that could work. I mean, I guess the want less of and want more of too could be something, those could be more immediate desires as well, though. So that'd be the only counter to that.
I like it as one station. I don't know if 2 boards and 1 stations, it just gives more space. I think this will get a lot of people will fill things in on.
I would say yes, if you
2 boards.
take it,
Yes,
2 boards on it, and then the person working both.
that's fine.
Because it's a lot of the same.
Now we got everybody got over. I'm good now. Sorry, Dave. Let's move to number 4 then, priorities.
Which is really 3.
No,
Never gonna keep it, we're just gonna put 2 boards at one station. So we'll have
No,
4.
as a priorities is now the 3rd station, correct?
Oh, a third station.
Yeah.
You know, 4th board.
Ah, gotcha.
So this would priorities now be station 3, but it would be our 4th board. And I thought this was laid out very well, kind of from our. Basically, it's a lot of the stuff that was kind of in the survey.
Correct. It was carried over from the survey, and they'll receive 3 dots, all the same color. And then they can really kind of vote any way they want with those 3 dots. Sometimes people will put all 3 in one, or we could. It's kind of hard to police the station, but some people will put all their dots in one column or one row. And honestly, I don't have any issues with that. It's just if they want to spread their dots around, they can. Otherwise, they vote how they want with their dots. And then if there's anything that's not on the board, they can add it on a Post-it note in the far right column.
And then the only thing I was questioning on this one was the column that says most important to me. I thought it should just say important to me because we're telling them to do the top 3 priorities, but the word most kind of sounds like that's number 1 priority.
Okay, so just remove most.
Yes,
It's semantics, but I was just. And then station 4 was the interesting one with the Sagatuck Bucks. Which would be board number 5.
Yes. Next one. So, and here I wanted to make sure that we make sure that we have all the right categories here. And what I was thinking, we have, poker chips or coins or something like that. And we could probably put jars in front of this board, so that they can obviously invest their Sagatuck bucks in the categories that they wish. So the categories so far are streets, parks, sideways paths, waterfront access, public art, downtown improvements, and I'm just looking for suggestions to see if we should add anything else. I know Grayson and I will chat about this a bit more as well. We were strategizing a bit on tweaks to the boards today, so there might be a few minor changes here and there. But any other major categories that you would want to add on to this station, or just defer to Grayson and I to finalize this?
I didn't have any categories. I think we discussed this in the last meeting. The challenge that I have with this is we're giving them dollars and said, hey, where should money be spent? Well, like public art, $20,000 could go a long way to do stuff for public art, in special places. Or waterfront access is kind of a zoning thing. We've already addressed that with the waterfront preservation. I don't really see an additional cost, a huge cost to us on waterfront access. But streets, parks, sidewalks, those are major expenses. So yes, they could say that that's where they want the money to spend. But it's a big difference between spending $200,000 or $2 million on a street versus others. But I think it helps us understand where they can place their money. But it's kind of unrealistic if everybody says they want their money spent on streets and parks. Well, it's good to know, but where's the money coming from?
when we have sidewalks falling apart.
Yeah. So it's.
their money doesn't scale the real costs. This is just their priority.
Yeah.
At the risk of
It's not a formal capital
It's way too
improvement process.
Right.
Explain to somebody, it's like, okay. You're putting $1 a year, but it makes $10 a year.
Yeah.
So. I mean, I guess the thing that when I was talking there, waterfront access, I'm not certain what it's in. Because again, I don't really know what expense we would have to create waterfront access after we've already developed the waterfront preservation zone district.
About a boardwalk.
Yeah, extending the boardwalk.
Boat launch,
Mhm.
so type of people think
Mhm.
these work
Right.
that.
So yeah, I was thinking like access lane.
Maybe,
Maybe we have an
maybe
example there.
we need to be clear.
Right. Like waterfront access.
Maybe it's waterfront
Sidewalk.
facilities. Right, because it could be boardwalk, it could be,
Because the
Restrooms by the water, it could be-
That's one of the most.
Or even a
important things that we
boat
have.
launch, boat launches.
Yeah.
Public boat launches.
Sure.
there's been,
We
you
can throw
know,
a couple of examples in there, like IE.
I like the waterfront facilities. Is that what you just said, Joe? I like
because
that.
there's,
as-
yeah, there's been asks for fish cleaning
Bathrooms.
stations, there's
Mhm.
been, you know, all sorts of things, right? So.
Did you hear that, David?
Yes, so we can call it waterfront facilities and then maybe put in parentheses or a note, boardwalk, docks, public facilities, and kind of give it a couple examples about what would fall under that.
Perfect.
I hate to throw this out there, but
Throw it out.
I mean, do we need to have a specific reference to like parking or anything like that? Because there's a. I know we have to talk the task force and everything, but if we're talking about where you're spending your money, right? Could it be,
Would downtown improvements fall into parking or?
it definitely
It
could,
say IE.
I.e. parking.
yep,
Mhm.
I guess maybe then you could have a transportation section then, because I don't know if that's expanded or
I like that
services
better.
or
I
something
like that
like
better.
I like that better.
Mhm.
I'm just kind of mirror back to what the city's, you know, kind of carved out in their priorities, right? And general infrastructure, right, includes streets, you know, rehabbing streets and what have you. And then there's the underground infrastructure that's really a big deal, right? Or it's going to be a big deal. I'm not sure that that's even
Yeah,
something we have to throw out there because it's gonna be mandated by the state, but.
you know. So David, I'm just also wondering, so if we're gonna put in something about. What would you just have that as a transportation as a column?
Yeah.
I'm not certain we need what else. If I was working the station and somebody said, oh, I'd spend my money and it's, and none of these, I'd be something else. I'd be like, oh, you wanna put that back on the general feedback when you came in, you know? So it's.
Yeah.
You could send them back and be like, hey, that's a good idea. We'll go back and add that to the board. Plus, there's gonna be one coming up where they've got enhance. I think it's, where we say preserve, enhance, so they can also make their comment. on that one. So maybe instead of the what else, because the board's gonna get very crowded. We could take the what else out and put in transportation needs.
Well, the very last slide says what else is in your mind?
So I'm thinking there's a couple places where they can do the what else.
Okay, so I take that column off because it can be reported elsewhere.
Yes. And then we were saying in that column, maybe put transportation or transportation needs.
Maybe you can just put in parentheses like a parking
Parking.
service.
Parking garage, parking.
I want to say parking garage, and then it goes kind of before the task force.
I just want to find out if people want to see it. Parking garage will Carl Gables is. Scare everyone.
5-story.
Exactly.
You
have a commercial building, 2.5 row, big garage, we didn't say it, we did.
If the city owns it,
You could put a restaurant on top.
Turn off your microphone.
It was, we'll talk about it, so. The house gets this week. Sorry. All right, so I think that takes care of anything else on board number 5 and station 4. Then we move to board 6, which will be station 5.
Okay, yeah, so the next one is preserve, enhance, and transform. And so this is kind of, similar to almost like a land use exercise or investment, a redevelopment type exercise. And talking to Grayson earlier, we're going to look at dividing this map probably up into maybe 2, possibly 3. It would still all be the same station, but these boards are 24 by 36 inches, and I think just based on how dense the downtown areas in particular, we may want to have a few focus area maps rather than this be one large map. But we're going to strategize that a bit. But again, that we believe this could be one station. The preserve, enhance, transform. I can either have maybe add something to the board or have a sheet there available just to define what we mean by preserve, enhance, and transform. It was described in the memo from last month. So, obviously preserve being something that we don't want it touched. It's good as is. We need to protect this. Enhancing is something that might need some improvements, but overall, we generally like the building. We like the block. We like what's going on there. And then transform is full redevelopment. It's something that we want to see completely changed. So it's really kind of three levels of future planning for land use and infrastructure and buildings and really the built environment. So
And are you considering having 3 different color dots, just like here, the green, yellow, red, that they would use?
that's correct. There'll be three color dots. They'll be available at the station, and these will either be kind of semi-transparent dots so that you can put them on the map and still see through them and see, make sure they're not covering up a certain road name or building.
I don't know, maybe it's me. But this makes me really uncomfortable. Because it implies that, I mean, there's so much that regulates what we can do around preserving, enhancing, and transforming. This implies that, oh, we can transform this. Probably not. I don't know. It just makes me feel uncomfortable in terms of overpromise. Because there are some areas that are already preserved, we can't touch. I don't know. I just don't. I don't want to imply that we're capable of doing something that we're really not capable of doing.
I think that's just like you said before. I think words are important, and maybe the way we phrase this is not where the city of Saugatuck should preserve, enhance, or transform. Maybe like that you feel should preserve, enhance, and transform. At least like so that we're not really committing to anything. Would that give any comfort level with if we just wordsmithed the instructions? Or do you think just giving this option at all gives a participant the feeling that something may be able to transform that may not be? I mean, I think in any case, we are looking for input. We may not agree with everything we hear, but we do want to ask those questions.
I think what I struggle with is, even though we may describe what each one of those means, without the context behind it or description, it's really hard to understand what people are really thinking. That's what I'm struggling with, right? So if somebody picks a residential area and says, transform, what does that mean, right? Does that mean mow down all the small little houses and put up mansions? Does that mean, I don't know, you know what I'm saying? It's just really hard for me to draw out from that what the intent is behind it.
Well, and the fact of the matter is that there are ordinances and regulations and laws in place.
Yeah.
That even if we want to transform something.
There's that too.
We can't do that. I mean, that's what I worry about in terms of, what we're conveying. And then also, I mean, there's like Presbyterian camp here. Okay, let's preserve it. Well, no. I mean, it's privately owned.
Which is why. That's actually dune grass. It's not Presbyterian.
Right.
campus. The road is dune grass. Because the camp technically is not there anymore. It's dune grass and dune grassers.
I know.
Well, and again, what does preserve mean to the person that says that, right? Is it preserved wildlife out there or
Exactly.
that's where I kind of struggled as well, so.
And this one was the one where I was just trying to figure out what are we getting from it. Also, CJ was on the said, I didn't know if it was even necessary, because originally this was gonna be the one I said we could remove to get down to the second stations. I just don't see what I'm gaining. And I think it's very confusing because I'm thinking, even if somebody said if they want to pick up one area over here, like where the parking lot is for the yacht club. Well, the first person that puts a dot there, like you were saying, I know it could be transparent or something, but okay, they put the dot, but again, what do they want us to transform it into? What do you wanna change to? And I think that we give them opportunities on some of the other boards. So I personally would like just to see it removed. Unless you think there's really a reason for it.
What do we gain from the results? What is it that it's gonna tell us? Cause there's so much implied by what the individual thinks preserve is or transform. It's really gonna be hard to interpret.
I agree with that. I would take it out.
Me too.
This is one of the, probably one of the most common master planning land use exercises that. I mean, preserve and they typically call it like a pet exercise. It's really commonly used in our field. And I mean, I actually feel this is one of the more important exercises to go through. I do agree that if you just stick a bunch of stickers on it and don't have any context, it just looks like a map with chicken pox, and we don't really get much from it. What I'd like to do in that case is either have, it's kind of up to the station manager, and we could talk about this a little bit beforehand, but sometimes I'll have the station manager have a Sharpie marker and put like a note one, and then they would have a notebook. All station managers should have a notebook anyway to be able to take down notes. We could pre-make a sheet with has lines and numbers just so that you can jot down the notes as somebody puts a dot there, you put a number on it, and then you make a quick note on your corresponding sheet. The other idea is that we have sticky flags, so they're obviously narrower than a sticky note, and they could put a quick statement or sentence on that sticky flag and kind of affix that to the dot itself. So I mean, these exercises can end up just cluttered with dots and with no real understanding to what's going on. But if it's managed properly, and if we have 2 or 3 zoomed in maps, it will be less cluttered and we'll be able to get more out of it. But again, I certainly hear your concerns with it.
If it's strongly managed, I can see they're getting some value out of it, but that's what's gonna be required, I think, to get any real value out of the results.
I agree. Okay, and this may be a station where if maybe Grace and her eyes handle the first station, the intro, and then maybe one of us as a floater comes over here. If it gets crowded, we have 2 people staffing the station. Because I agree, this one is the one that needs the most management.
Yeah, because you're gonna have, many people are gonna be putting stuff like, enhance over beach, or I'm sure we're gonna get a bunch of ones who's gonna say, do stuff up here in Oxbow, but we're very limited what you can do up there.
Oh, yeah.
So it's,
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
That's what I
many
mean.
people are gonna look at that and be like, oh, we have all that. And I'm like, well, you can say enhance or transform, but.
I'm just not gonna know what to do with the data points, like transform could mean so many different things,
Right.
enhance can mean so many different things, so. If you had a list and then columns and you said, do you wanna enhance Mobile Beach, Wicks Park, maybe that way, but. I mean, we're like 1 square mile, and we're trying to jam a bunch of dots in here to show, nuanced comments, and I think I'm not sure what I'd get out of it. When we take this and try to then do the master plan, so.
But if it's one that gets used most, I'm not opposed to keeping it, and let's just see what we get from it. Could surprise me. Never surprise audience. So on station 7 then,
Don't put me on the
station
station.
6.
Steve already signed off too.
Good.
Station 6, which would be what we now have is board 7, but maybe board 8, 9, or 10.
Yeah.
Depends on what you do with some of those other ones, you blow them up. On the mobility connection. And I spoke to Grayson briefly on this. Is there a way that this can actually show where we have sidewalks and stairs and things throughout the city now? Because I look at this map, but it's like, okay, I may put a dot in and we already have a sidewalk, and they just don't know where. Because right now this has streets, but.
Yeah, it's gonna be hard, even blowing that up big is gonna be hard to identify where the sidewalks are or
Right.
not.
Right. I had somebody the other day was talking about up with there's a ramp on Mason that you can get from the hill down, but like you can go down, it's area, whatever, there's steps, but there's no ramp.
Right.
They're like, well, you know, for mobility, it'd be nice to have more ramps, and I'm like, okay, I understand that, but there's nothing here. That even shows where they are, because when I told somebody, I said, well, there's actually one over here on Mason, they said, where?
Yeah.
I've never knew it was the
Sure,
city, they don't live
sure.
on the hill, but.
Hmm.
So I think that was something to thought, because truthfully, there's some places out here where I'm not certain where's the sidewalk or not. Like, that's all, I don't know if that could be created between now and September 30th. Or if we have anything like it. And Grayson was saying like the GIS, and I was concerned about trees and that, so it's.
The paths over there are gonna be all covered over.
With the GIS, we can have it still show like this without an aerial. It just depends on how much data we have available currently, just because with the short time frame, then it would really only be as good as the available data now.
Yeah,
Okay.
we did access all the GIS data from the county. They don't have much more that, I know they don't have sidewalks and pathways. It's something that we would certainly create that map as part of the master plan process, but it would be might be difficult to have that created before the event.
I think you're gonna get a lot of people that wanna talk about these, cause they're gonna have particulars, so it's gonna be well managed. You're gonna have somebody's gotta manage, they're gonna wanna put a dot and they're gonna tell you, I need a walk here, and you're gonna have to make a note, but that sticker won't imply all that.
Right.
Well, they'll put a dot on Maple Street and say, it's coming, right? It's coming next year.
Yeah.
Would you like to see aerials here or have this be just kind of a clean base map like this?
If you get an aerial that's clear, then yes, but I don't think you're gonna get a good aerial that's any better than that.
Is wouldn't
Yeah.
the aerial be close to like what we saw on. Previous page?
I think the base map's a little easier to digest.
You can be able to pick out where you're going.
Right.
Yeah, what the street names are a little easier, locations are better to identify. Just well managed. It's gonna have to be managed station.
And again, I don't know, obviously we're pulling this off of some source, maybe you can't change it, but I really don't wanna have Presbyterian Camp or Dune Grass is located. So if there's any way that we can manually change that road to say Dune Grass, as opposed to Presbyterian Camp.
Okay, sure, yeah. Is that the only title road change or other map changes the title there?
Yeah, I mean, other streets that are identified, that is the name of the streets.
Yeah.
The only one, because everything else that is, you know, even the one that goes through Shorewood, it is called Shorewood Drive. So the one that goes through Dune Grass there off of Pyramid. Should either just say Dune Grass or Dune Grass, I think it's called Dune Grass Drive. It's actually in our itinerary.
Grass Ridge Drive.
Oh, that's the ridge, that's because. it's
Oh, that's,
three
yeah,
line.
yeah, so Dungar.
But it's Dune Grass Drive.
Isn't there a development on Maple Street that, I mean, the street is named like, I don't know, Maple Court or something like that, it never shows up on Google Maps, but. It's between Mason and Ridgeview. I'm saying it's, if you're looking for additions to the map,
There's a court there.
so. Maybe it's in, like,
Yeah, a little cul-de-sac in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See what we're talking about. All right, if there's anything we can do, this kind of, you know, again, I think CJ was saying, it's not be a very much manned, because when they tell us. You know. Sidewalk, crosswalks. Areas of concern, you have to really know what that is and what they're looking for. Then one of our survey ones, which we hear all the time. This one is currently called Board 8, which would be like Station 7. Small town charm, because everyone has a different definition. What they consider small town charm, so they gotta be interested, and then the whole idea of posted there, I think, is also good.
Yeah.
Any comments from the rest of the group on 8? And then, of course, the last one, what else is on your mind, I think, kind of captures the opportunity as anybody's going through, if they had a comment that we didn't think fit on any of the boards, recommend it, put it at the end.
And
But again, I think you did a really good job.
Yeah, I like this one.
Thanks. Yeah, but and one more quick question too. On the small town charm, Steve, you had mentioned in the past, maybe we do some sort of photo board exercise, similar to the visual preference survey from the waterfront project. Is that something that they're still interested in doing? And if so, are the only difficulty if we did a photo board would be to, like, what is it focused on? Is it downtown? What is it, downtown town charm, or is it small town charm in a neighborhood? And I guess we would have to be very generalized. You know, what buildings do you like? But you know, in the waterfront project, we were talking about, do you like this building? But do you like it in this location? So like it was kind of very context based and location based. So if we did a photo board, it'd probably have to be very general, or we'd have photo board for like downtown, photo board for residential. Is that something you want us to look into creating?
You know, I know I brought that up last time, and I didn't see it here, I was totally fine without it being there, because I started thinking about the photo board, and one of the things that we got comments on when we were doing it for the waterfront was we would just show them different buildings, but we weren't kind of like giving an example of where they would fit into our community. And then the issue is, if all of a sudden we showed Butler, we dropped a modern building, and we kind of get their opinion, then what business do we take out? And they're like, oh, is something getting ready to happen to Pumpernickel? You know, it's, so I think it's probably best that we don't try to start making it too specific to the city and getting their comments.
Yeah, I think that's probably the best idea. This is a kickoff event, and I mean, we may have other events in the future. So as a part of the planning process, we may find that we do a you know, some sort of design oriented open house, or you know, special topic area open house. So I mean, we can still talk about those things. We can, you know, be flexible and have other opportunities. I mean, we could even do something else online, similar to the waterfront project, where we had all those photos in the online survey.
Right. Yeah, so I think this here is good for kind of like finishing it up at the last station and then going into the feedback. Or general comments, I'm sorry.
Okay. The only other question I had on this would be, do you want to determine station assignments tonight, or should we coordinate that by email after the meeting? Because I'd like to at least know who's going to be at each station. And then what I like to do also is provide kind of a cheat sheet for each station, so that you can read that ahead of time. And, you know, like similar before, where I'd said, you could attach either a number to a dot or a flag, and just give some advice about how the station can be run. I mean, in any case, will draw up that kind of that station description and explanation to the station manager. But at some point, I think we should assign stations before the meeting night.
Okay. I do think you or Grayson should man station 1. And kind of get the sign-ins, introduce yourselves, and help people kind of understand the flow. And again, people can move around, they don't have to go 1 through 9, I mean, they, you know, we want to let them know that they can go any place they want. Bobby, I know you like small town charm, you want that one? Is there one that you prefer?
Which one
I was just
is
thinking,
that?
small town charm.
Is it this one?
Oh, small. The other one is a small town charm.
I'm fine with that. Yes, I'd be happy to do that one. Is that the last one?
It's eight.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sidewalk is the mobility one, number 7.
If you really want to see.
No, it's okay. I was just thinking, I'll be one of the hard ones. It was the two that need to be managed, and that one I felt is the easier of the two. Yeah, that one.
Who wants to do preserve, enhance, and David can have this.
I'm gonna be stuck there. No one will.
I'll go to number 1 and you do number 6.
I think I should take priorities just because there's some linkage there with
That would
what the
be good.
city's on. So I'll throw my name in on that.
Your priorities, Joe?
Yeah, which I constantly get accused of not having any, so.
Priorities board 4 or priorities Sagatuck Bucks?
It would be board 4. That's what I was thinking, but. I'm on the council. I can't be seen taking money.
Here. I know,
And then
So Mark had-
So right now we have with feedback,
that's one person.
2
The
and
2,
3.
yeah, 2 and 3
One
is
person.
correct.
Um,
2 and 3 is gonna be 1, or are you putting 2 people there, both Mark and?
One person is 2 boards.
Are you putting Mark or Austin there?
Mark.
Yeah, I put Mark there.
And where are you putting Austin?
Will he be back?
Austin gets Saga Bucks.
He gets back next Tuesday or Wednesday, I
Okay.
think it is.
All right.
So.
I
Oh.
asking where Austin was going. I think that leaves him with,
Austin is either going on station 5 or station 4.
Well,
You had to leave early.
Oh, Austin's gets 5, that's the only one left, sorry,
What's that?
that's the only one. that-
6 hasn't been assigned, or is 6, who's got 6?
Dave, you
Oh,
gave that to Dave.
Oh.
Dave, you want to be at the front or do you want to have station 6?
I think you should have station 6.
you're asking me, I'm sorry.
Are you okay having station 6?
I'm fine with 6 and then.
Or station 5, whatever, like the board
Yeah,
number.
The pet process. that-
Transform.
Yep, that's my punishment. I'll take 6. Again, Grace and I can kind of jump back and forth or I'd be happy to do it. Just
Exactly.
we'll figure it out.
I'll take the Bucks one.
Yeah. What is it?
Yeah, well, you gotta give me one.
You're gonna need to explain that one.
Yeah.
Which one is the?
That's
It's
number
got-
5. 5 on the current one, which would be station 4. And we'll realign these.
And then, where do you want Austin?
And there's what's left, is it just the
That's-
file feedback?
Yeah,
Who's on the quick response, the first, after the welcome,
So we got-
welcome?
So the welcome, we do,
Grayson or Dave, 1 and 6 are Grayson and Dave.
oh, where'd you put me in?
Yeah.
Oh, you know, so I need.
You're a floater.
Oh, maybe you
I
got
forgot about you.
the quick response one?
I think he's gonna do.
Oh, it's like-
Steps, but
We used to, must have missed.
So you and Dave will do 6. And then we're putting,
I think actually,
Austin on 9.
I think it would be nice in terms of welcome to the city of Saugatuck's master, this slide, the first one. I think it would be nice to have Steve and
So Grayson here's.
Steve and Grayson.
Then, because it's kind of. It was talk about it being, it's the. Responsibility of the planning commission, to actually conduct the master plan together for the city council to do a final approval.
and that'll give you the opportunity to float around too to see what all the other stations are talking.
And you want Austin
So
on
we
9.
have 1, yes, that. So that's station 1, Grayson. Station 2.
The quick response.
So there's the
Quick feedback.
2 files, so there's
Yep.
the quick feedback and 3. We come out with, that's more.
Oh.
And then station 3. Which is.
Priority.
Priorities, which is. Shoot.
that would be,
Station 3 is Joel. Station 4, which is Sagatuck Bus priority, CJ. Station 5, which is the Board 6, which is preserve, enhance, transform, that's Dave. Station 6, mobility, Craig. Small town feel, small town charter being Bobby, and general comments. Agent. But so is
He can float.
Hey, you know what, Dave? AJ can help you out.
Sounds good. Perfect. I need some backup. Thank you.
So you can use him as a floater back over there. But he's also a good person, kind of get the people to go over in the city for a long time. Great. Anything else you guys to cover there, Dave? The timing on that. It is 5 to 7, we should probably be there at 4:30.
Mhm.
Yeah, it would be great if all the PC members could be there about a half an hour early. I'd like to be there probably 45 minutes early, maybe an hour, just to make sure everything gets set up. And then we can do our briefings at each station. And then every time I do this, people start showing up 15 minutes early. So I'd suggest getting there a half an hour early just to beat the early bird. So
Yeah,
I was gonna say, or else we need to cut a sheet for 4 o'clock to help you out. If somebody can't make it, just try to be there by 4:30.
yeah, yep. And then I can send out your cheat sheets ahead of time as well, just so, and then we can, if you have any questions the day of, we can chat about that, and I'll assign everyone all their sticky notes and dots and flags and everything else. So we'll have all supplies at each station for you.
I just had one master plan postcard comment. You all have Joe, you got some last night, you get additional ones today. They're just a handout to those who may not be getting them in the mail or may not have seen them online. But we did send them to homeowners, occupants. Sisters in Ink was gracious enough to print us, instead of the 1,400 we ordered, they sent 2,500. So I took about 200 to the school, to the high school, for the kids that, are outside the district, for their parents. We sent email blasts via MailChimp, Facebook notice on it. And we emailed all the business owners as well. So we're pretty covered, I believe, as far as dispersing the information.
Is there any place at the convention
Yes, we'll have more.
that we could put some there?
Yep.
I thought about the library has like a little.
I didn't think about the library, but I could I'll drop some off there.
At least have it posted on the board, or you can drop some off at the counter. I was gonna talk to Kristen and see if we could put some at the SCA, potentially in that, where the public art is. Those were three that I thought of.
You said SCA library and which one?
The convention bureau, you said we already have that one. And then I thought about the SCA, they may let us put them in, they have that public.
I'll take them by tomorrow and just drop some off. How many would you like to keep for the event?
I mean, probably if you had, even at these locations, I'm guessing if they put 20 or 25 on
Yeah.
it, that doesn't really get taken.
And then whatever we have left, just take to the, okay. Sounds good. Thank you.
And Grace and I today, we spoke about doing like an 11 by 17, mini poster just to advertise the event as well. We could put on bulletin boards on the front door of City Hall. Maybe there's other businesses that would want to put them on in their windows. So we'll do just a simple, informative events, a poster so we can print up and have it around town.
That'd be great, yeah, because I didn't, some businesses may be willing to kind of put it in a window, some, I don't know, but all you can do is ask. Okay. That concludes old business communication. We'd already discussed, we had the letter from Gary Medler in regards to the dune grass, which was included in the conference, and we've already covered that. Reports of officers and committees, don't have anything there, which takes us to our last round of public comments. At this time, you can comment on anything that's on your mind, limited to 3 minutes. You could raise your hand if you're online, if we have no one in the room. Seeing no one online, we'll close out that part of public comment, which takes us down to the commissioner comments. And tonight, actually, I'm gonna kick off. I had an opportunity in this last month to attend an event at the Wickwood Inn. And I know that we all had to, we went through a lot to try to like discuss whether or not we should allow an ordinance change or a zoning change to allow them to have the additional ADUs. Martin and Shay, the owners, are just unbelievable, and what they did there surpasses my expectation. The inn is absolutely beautiful. The remodels are amazing. It made me feel when I was there part of it because you kind of help them in achieving the goal of what they were looking to try to do. They offered for anyone who wants us to come, the planning commission that wants to come down and go through, they'd love to be able to show you the place, kind of let you feel like you were part of kind of helping to create it. So I said I would throw that out. We discussed whether or not we could even have like a joint, kind of a walkthrough kind of thing, but that requires a public notice, so we said.
That's like,
But I would just like to say, thank you to them because they threw it for the lifetime members of the SCA, the Salt Lake Center of Arts. And it was a beautiful evening, but very impressed with what they have done there, so I told them I would make all of you aware of it, so you can feel good about, so if we could guarantee that any type of improvements that we would possibly, make arrangements for, make changes for, turned out to that level. And all of a sudden, when the concern came about having like, what if they take the next one, like, take the next 3.
Well, it's to their credit. How many times were they in front of us? It had to be 4 months.
It was 4 months of delay, and it's just, I
To their credit.
can't tell you, it's. So when you see it written up in all these publications, now I understand. So it was, but I would encourage you, they were very nice, they said, hey, just stop in, walk through, introduce yourself, they would be happy. So, especially she's amazing. That was it for my commissioner comment.
Look forward to the master plan open house.
As do I, and just as a side note, I think I mentioned this before, but council is kind of warming up and getting good input from the community, or starting to get input from the community on this whole dark sky initiative. And there's going to be an event October 21st at Oval Beach. Dark Sky is going to be out there. They're going to have some type of presentation. They're going to limit cars to one side of Oval so they can have the other side of the Oval preserved dark. They've scheduled that there's no moon out that night. And so who knows, it may ripple into, something we do. Pardon me?
telescope coming from,
Right.
so it's gonna be.
Telescopes, yeah, all sorts of things. So, yeah,
It's in
put
the
it on your
council
calendar.
packet, actually, for
Yes.
the meeting next Monday. And that's
It is.
where I read about it
Yeah,
today when I was
Yeah.
looking at the council package. And it sounds great. I put it on my calendar, actually.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So hopefully we'll see you all there.
Anything happening on the parking that you're aware of as far as the task force?
No, it just said it's getting underway and, I believe Gregory Muncy is the chairperson. So,
Oh, it is.
yeah.
Nothing, good meeting. I like the master plan. I think there's a lot of feedback. I think there's a little buzz. I'm glad to hear a couple hundred people already have taken it. I think that's a good sign, so. So I'm looking forward to the open house.
Welcome, Grayson.
Thank you.
On behalf of all of us, again, yeah. And I too am looking forward to the open house. I think it will be everything. I mean, I think it's going to be really good. And what was the other thing I was going to say? Oh, the survey. So how many surveys went out, or what is the universe? So we have 209 back.
That's what I was gonna, David, one of the things that's curious, do you know how many of our residents versus part-time or non-residents? I think I said that number at one point.
Yeah, at first, I think we were around 70% being full or part-time residents. I think it's gone down to maybe closer to 50% now of being full-time and part-time residents. But I can double check that. I think somewhere between 50 and 60% resident response.
Okay, good, good. Okay, thank you, Dave. Thank you, David.
Yeah, Dave, thank you for all the work. And of course, Trent, we always appreciate it. We had to jump in today,
course.
especially on the dune grass. And then in closing, we do want to welcome. And
Thank you.
tell you that we're hoping that you have a long term.
Yes, we are.
Please.
It's bought a house, so. Be here a minute.
You did a nice addition so far. Just the way you jumped in the day and really took the entire day of reading.
Well, and I thought his presentation, I mean, considering how little bit of time he's been on the job and the complexity of what, as it turned out today, but he did a really good job.
It's just in an intro letter, we probably should have given you a little bit more time because I kind of take it for granted 'cause that's part of the interviews. But, you know, one of the things that you did in your previous job, you worked as a consultant, as part of a consultant team, so you handled multiple different municipalities and kind of creating these kind of packets. So it probably makes it easier to work along with Dave, and we appreciate that.
Yeah.
It's a great skill to bring to us.
I'm really excited to be here.
Fantastic. With that, I'll take a motion.
Mr. Chair, if I could just jump in real quick to bring up everyone's favorite topic. I had some good discussion this week with. Yeah, I just wanted to check with the planning commission to see if the plan was still to consider that at next month's meeting or what your sort of timeline was on that. We had some good discussions this week. You know, we have a draft together, obviously, that we've revised a bit, and then some discussion about maybe some example provisions to bring to you guys, and then maybe just some sort of general discussion about sign regulations for the next meeting, if that's what the planning commission wants to do. So just wanted to sort of see what your thoughts were as that. I know you guys are very busy and the master planning process takes up a lot of time. So just wanted to get your thoughts.
And the signs is primarily, it's kind of been like a not a requirement, but all communities are kind of adjusting.
Yeah, since the Reed case came out in 2015, it's been kind of a slow adjustment. Our office has done, you know, a few every year, but the city is definitely not the only municipality we're familiar with that hasn't made the adjustment yet. And so as far as priority, you know, it's obviously I think it's important from a legal perspective, but it's maybe not the most pressing thing ever.
No, because my understanding was we did want to get back to it. Part of me was thinking when we were discussing the rezoning, how we kind of said, hey, maybe we'll wait until after we get more data from the master plan. And then we would make that part of, but I don't think we want to push the signs to be part of the discussion on master plans. Because that could be a year from now.
Yeah, I would defer to David on like if the planning process would have it. I just think it's maybe too general to have sort of a sign scope to it. I think that's pretty specific. You know, in other communities, we've just proposed kind of like a baseline sort of, I guess, simplified sign regulations and then built on it from there as we've sort of discussed it. And so, you know, that's kind of an option, I guess, if the city would want to take a sort of a fresher look at signs. So, you know, there are different ways we can kind of go, but I don't think master planning would have a huge impact on signs.
And he's shaking his head in Boston, so I'm fine with having it in the October. I don't think. We don't know yet if it's gonna be on the meeting, and we will have a summary from. The open house. And then whatever comes before us, but there's nothing significant in October, so. Trent, if you think you could have a draft, you know, for us to review. For the October meeting, I'd be fine with it going back in October.
Yep, I think that's absolutely doable. Like we have a draft we circulated this week, and as well as some sort of legal opinions on some of the specific questions. So we'll make sure that's all circulated ahead of the meeting, and we'll plan on October. So
That's good.
My only comment about that, and it's not coming from a self-interest point of view, but my only comment about that is I think October is fine, except we don't know what's going to happen between now and October. And I'm a big proponent of always pick your battles. So.
Hey, we'll shoot forward. Nothing else, we'll call for motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye. Good meeting, Steve.
Any text?